All right, so in the situation where I have two radicals, I have to isolate one of them, square, isolate the second one, and then square again. So kind of how that's going to work, if I have the square root of x minus 7 plus the square root of x plus 8 is equal to 5. So I can move one of those square roots over to one side so that I isolate one of them. So I get square root of x minus 7 is equal to 5 minus the square root of x plus 8. So now I will square both sides to get rid of one of the square roots. So 5 minus the square root of x plus 8. So I square that one. So on the left-hand side, the square undoes the square root, so that I have just plain old x minus 7 on one side, but then on the other side, I have 5 minus the square root of x plus 8 times 5 minus the square root of x plus 8. And so I have something else, in this case, that I still need to FOIL out to get rid of. Okay? So that whenever I do this, if I FOIL everything out on the left side, I have my x minus 7. On the right-hand side, I'll have 5 times 5, which gives me 25. So then I have 5 times the square root. So I have minus 5 times the square root of x plus 8. Then I distribute the negative square root. So I have another minus 5 square root of x plus 8. And then plus the square root of x plus 8 squared. And so if I combine those, what happens? I've got an x minus 7, a 25, minus 5 gives me a minus 10 times the square root of x plus 8. And then plus the square killing off the square root gives me just x plus 8. So if I combine these, combine terms on the right-hand side, so I get a 25 plus an 8, which is going to give me a 33, minus 10 times the square root of x plus 8, a plus x. Okay, so I still have a square root that I need to isolate. And so that's kind of what I need to do as my next step. I need to isolate that square root. And so that means moving the other terms to the other side of the equal sign. So subtracting x and subtracting 33 on both sides, I get x minus 7 minus the x minus the 33 gives me a minus 10 times the square root of x plus 8. And so over on the left-hand side, my x's cancel out. My minus 7 minus 33 gives me a minus 40 is equal to minus 10 times the square root of x plus 8. Well, now I can divide both sides by minus 10, which is going to give me, so I divide both sides by minus 10. My minus 10s cancel, so I get a 4 is equal to the square root of x plus 8. So now I'm back in the situation where I can square both sides to get rid of the square root. So on the left-hand side, I have 16. On the right-hand side, I have just x plus 8. So I can subtract 8 on both sides, and I get a solution. X is 8. So again, I need to go back and check to make sure that this really does give me an honest and goodness solution. Well, my original equation was the square root of x minus 7 plus the square root of x plus 8 is equal to 5. So if I check that, I would check, so 8 minus 7 plus the square root of 8 plus 8, does that give me 5? Well, in this case, 8 minus 7 is going to give me square root of 1, plus the square root of 16 is equal to 5. So square root of 1 is 1, square root of 16 is 4, plus 1 is 5, true. And so I honest and truly do have a solution of x is equal to 8.